All right, let's do it. It's Wednesday evening's weather for Weather Geeks. Going to get right to it this evening. This is a recorded version of this video, so by the time a lot of you watch this, some of this stuff will be a little outdated, but I'll try to get it online as quickly as possible. We have a thunderstorm off in the distance here to the west of downtown Youngstown. If you look carefully, you can see the rain falling out of the clouds off on the western horizon here. That's the view from our tower cam, which is on the south side of Youngstown. When we head down to let's actually back up, and I want to look at 224. Let's bring up my Boardman camera here, and the back edge of this, you can also see it on our camera here. Here's the rain kind of just north of Canfield, or right over Canfield right now, and clearing skies behind the storm out towards the southwest. So that's what it looks like from the sky. Now let's take a look at the radar here at 7:47 p.m. This is really just about the only game in town. We've got this downpour over parts of Mahoning County with a little bit of lightning over Austintown. So Canfield to Austintown on Route 11 is a rainy drive right now. Little appendage here with a harder shower right around Glenwood Ave, Shields, and then heading over towards Mill Creek Park in parts of the Boardman area. And then up in Trumbull County, one isolated downpour right over Cortland and Bezetta this evening. That's about it. This cluster of storms that was earlier on fairly impressive up around the Cleveland area has really fizzled. In fact, let me do a radar loop of the last few hours, show you how this stuff has really diminished. This was much beastier looking towards Cleveland and Akron, even some hail earlier around Cuyahoga Falls, and still a flood advisory out for areas southwest of Cleveland because they got quite a bit of heavy rain over there. As we go through the overnight, we'll keep an eye on what's going on to our west. Some thunderstorms rolling through the Indianapolis, Indiana area right now, Chicago getting wet. A lot of this is also going to weaken as it comes east. Here's our high-res Futurecast doing a decent enough job showing some of the action around the region. It's not perfect, but it's decent. I do think that this is generally the right idea. A lot of that stuff that's way west of us now will probably roll through very late tonight in the form of just residual showers, small chance of thunder. No big deal. Most of us will get off to a dry start on your Thursday. We're halfway through the week already. And on our Wednesday, it was hot today. 89 degrees this afternoon, just shy of the 90-degree mark. We, of course, set a new record yesterday with a high of 92. We matched the 89 in New Philly today, 87 in Pittsburgh, 88 in Cleveland this afternoon. The heat index, along with the temperature, not quite as impressive as yesterday, but still, it was no fun to be outside if you were exerting yourself, that's for sure. The heat index was pretty close to 90 this afternoon, much like the air temperature. It was muggy all day today. It's going to stay muggy tonight. As we roll through the night again, there could be a residual shower late tonight. No big impacts there. Our Thursday is not a washout. In fact, the rain chances might be a little higher than today, but I don't think this is very well organized. But as we get into the afternoon and the evening tomorrow, some pop-up action, fairly slow moving once again, and the threat will be there for some downpours and maybe some hail as well. That threat will diminish by Friday morning. Friday afternoon, while it will be hot, won't be too bad otherwise. The humidity will come down a notch, a skosh, and it'll be dry as we wrap up the work week Friday afternoon and evening. A lot of Saturday should be fine as well. It might be a pop-up thunderstorm with a disturbance moving through Saturday afternoon, but I don't think there's a lot of rain at all on Saturday. Hour by hour rain chances for your Thursday look like this. Have them ramping up to 70 or 80% in the afternoon and evening. I suspect I'll be tweaking these numbers some this evening. 421 News at 11. Might have to take down some of these evening numbers, maybe tweak this up to 70 at 4 or 5 o'clock. Kind of fine-tuning things, but you get the general idea here. The best chance for rain tomorrow will be after lunchtime. Storm Prediction Center tomorrow has us in the low-end risk of severe weather. They use the word marginal. I prefer low because what's marginal mean in this sort of situation? It's towards the lower end of the scale, and so the chance of damaging winds or hail of 1 inch or larger, pretty low. Can't be ruled out, but pretty low. I think more than likely our main threat tomorrow would be a lot like the last couple of days, some hard downpours. There's very little wind in the atmosphere. The air quality wasn't great today because of, there's just not much breeze to stir up the atmosphere a little bit. And tomorrow upstairs in the atmosphere, there's still not going to be a lot of wind to push these things along. So that raises the possibility of some flash flooding in places where cells kind of persist. All right, it's going to stay pretty muggy through the weekend. Now, dew points might tick down a little lower than what's shown here on Friday. We might try to see the lower 60s for dew points Friday, but even if we do, that's short-lived. Weekend looks very muggy, especially on Sunday. And we've got a pretty good cold front coming our way. It's going to knock down the humidity for the first half of next week, but it's also going to ramp up the chances for wet weather for Father's Day. Now, I think Saturday, as I mentioned, is a very warm and humid day, probably in the lower 90s on Saturday. Pop-up storm in the afternoon and evening can't be ruled out, but much more organized action is starting to look more and more likely for Father's Day on Sunday, especially afternoon and evening on Sunday. And some of this action could be pretty strong. The modeling is pretty impressive here. This is a sharp cold front. The air will be very unstable ahead of it. This could be one of our big-ticket severe weather days so far this season coming up on Sunday. So you'll want to check the forecast often if you have outdoor plans or any kind of plans with Dad for Father's Day. Let's skip ahead to the longer range here. I want to show you the latest modeling here in the longer range. Warm weather, of course, through the weekend. Here's our cooler air mass pushing into the region early next week. Now, this will not be chilly by any stretch. It's just kind of back to normal, really. Middle, upper 70s for highs Tuesday and Wednesday. It looks like that'll have some staying power for a few days, but the staying power looks a little less impressive on the modeling than it did previously. So I think we'll see a temperature recovery towards the end of next week back to above average. Now, the latest European run here does show maybe another cool front coming through next weekend. Doesn't look very strong. And then it has a pretty hot-looking pattern for a few days as we go into that final stretch of June, 27th, 28th, 29th. Notice the warm anomalies centered over the Ohio Valley. So, kind of a back-and-forth pattern setting up. Overall, not as hot, not as humid, starting early next week. Not as consistently hot and humid. But we're going to have some warm stretches, some more seasonable days mixed in. This stretch we're in right now, compared to average, is pretty hot by June standards. This is more of a July or August type of situation we're in right now. Look for more updates from me on social media throughout the evening. Check out my forecast tonight on 21 News at 11. I'll have updated hour-by-hour rain chances for your Thursday and an update on the weekend as well.